Back up. Back up.
No, what is it? Wait, what is that?
You love me?
Yes, I love you.
You love me?
Babe.
You love me?
Yes, I love you.
You be my wife?
Babe, what is that? Babe, stop lying.
You see what it is? Look, I'm ready.
Babe. Ew.
You gonna marry me?
Yes, I'll marry you.
Come here then.
Ja'Kyra Ortiz was a 24-year-old woman known for her warm smile and generous heart.
On the dead out.
Friends and family lovingly called her Jaja, a nickname that reflected her joyful personality. Originally from Newport, Delaware, Jakira had recently moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina, to build a life with the man she loved. She worked hard at her job with Amazon, and those close to her describe her as a devoted friend and a caring soul. Jakira was also a mother, striving to provide a good life for her young child. By all accounts, she was a bright light in her community, kind, hard-working, and deeply loved. From the beginning, family was everything to Jakira. Even after moving states away, she kept in close contact with her relatives back home. She never missed a chance to call her mother or joke around with her older brother Paris. Her laugh was infectious, and she had a way of making others feel appreciated.
I'm gonna just, I'm gonna miss her smile and her drive, personally.
Paris would later say, struggling to describe a sister whose presence could light up a room. Jakira carried that positivity into her relationship, pouring love and hope into the future she was building. A few years before the tragedy, Jakira met Julian Goode-Wallace, a young man who shared her Delaware roots. Julian was 26, 2 years older than Jakira, and he quickly became the center of her world. The two fell in love and began dating, and over time, their bond only grew stronger. Friends recall that Jakira seemed happy and confident about her relationship with Julian. They had been together for years and often talked about spending the rest of their lives together. To those who knew the couple, their love story appeared genuine and full of promise. Julian presented himself as a supportive partner. On social media, the couple posted smiling photos at family gatherings and sweet messages on birthdays and anniversaries. Jakira's family welcomed Julian, believing he truly cared for her. There was no public sign of trouble. No one could have imagined the darkness that would later unfold. In conversations with friends, Jakira spoke about Julian with affection. He was the man she planned to marry, and she was excited to start a new chapter of life by his side. Before we get too deep, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in these discussions. By mid-2024, talk of marriage turned into concrete plans. The couple decided to relocate to North Carolina, where they would have a fresh start. Jakira left Delaware to join Julian there, eager to build their future together. They found an apartment in a complex called Lake in the Pines, and Jakira settled into a new routine in Fayetteville. Though it was hard being farther from her family, she believed she was creating her own family with Julian. Her loved ones trusted that she knew what she was doing. After all, she seemed happy. In August 2024, Julian made a grand gesture that seemed to seal their fairy tale. He proposed marriage to Jakira, and she said yes. The proposal was a celebratory moment the couple shared with everyone. They even recorded an engagement video, capturing Julian on one knee, and Jakira covering her face in joyful disbelief before throwing her arms around him. Jakira's smile in that video was brighter than ever, tears of happiness in her eyes. Family and friends rejoiced at the news. To anyone watching online, Jakira was living a dream. She had a fiancé who adored her and a wedding on the horizon. It was the kind of happiness people root for. Yet, as summer turned to fall and then winter, not everything was as perfect as it seemed. In the weeks after the engagement, subtle cracks began to show. Cracks that only those very close to Jakira might have noticed. After moving in with Julian, Jakira's family noticed that her routine communication became less frequent. Normally, she would call her mother or text her brother almost daily. But as 2024 drew to a close, there were quiet stretches. At the time, it didn't alarm anyone. Jakira was busy with work and wedding planning. Still, her mother had a nagging feeling that something was a little off. Jakira sometimes sounded tired or distracted on the phone, and she wasn't sharing as many details about her life in Fayetteville. Friends in Fayetteville also observed small changes. Jakira had made a few new friends through work and neighbors, and at first she was eager to introduce Julian to them. But over time, she started declining invitations to go out, saying she preferred to stay home. Her bubbly spirit seemed diminished in those last months. When a close friend asked if everything was okay, Jakira forced a smile and insisted she was fine. "Just a lot on my plate," she said. There were no obvious signs of trouble, like bruises or public arguments. If there were red flags, they were subtle. A certain anxious look in her eyes in a few photos, or the way her social media posts became less frequent and more restrained. Family later reflected on that period and wished they had pressed harder or visited sooner. Hindsight is painful. It's possible that behind closed doors, Jakira was dealing with tension or even abuse that she kept to herself. Domestic violence experts note that an abuser can often isolate their partner, and loved ones might only notice that the person has pulled away. At the time, however, no one realized the danger she might have been in. They all believed the next time they'd see her, she would be walking down the aisle, glowing with happiness. The turning point came on New Year's Eve 2024. Jakira spent the holiday with Julian in Fayetteville. It was the couple's first New Year's celebration living together. That evening, Jakira was in touch with her family as they rang in the new year. "Happy New Year, I love you," she texted her mother just after midnight. Everything seemed normal as 2025 began. However, after that night, Jakira went silent. In the days immediately following New Year's Eve, no one back home heard from her at all. Calls and texts went unanswered. Her mother left voicemails pleading for Jakira to call back just to let them know she was okay. Paris tried to reach Julian too, but there was no response. By January 3rd, worry was consuming them. This was not like Jakira. On Friday, January 3rd, 2025, the family alerted the Fayetteville police that Jakira was missing, and several relatives began traveling south to help find her. Paris drove through the night, heart in his throat. He later admitted that as he made that drive, he already feared the worst.
In a situation like that, you're exploring all possibilities in your mind, whether you want to or not.
Friends in Fayetteville also sprang into action. They checked her apartment complex and asked neighbors if anyone had seen or heard from her since New Year's Eve. One friend posted her photo online, urging anyone with information to contact the family. Julian, notably, was nowhere to be found during these searches. On the morning of Saturday, January 4th, 2025, the desperate search reached its tragic conclusion. Fayetteville police officers responded to the couple's apartment at Lake in the Pines. Just before 8:45 a.m., officers entered the residence. Inside, they found Jakira's lifeless body. She had suffered fatal injuries and had likely been dead for several days. Paramedics pronounced her dead at the scene. Outside, grief overwhelmed her family as the news was delivered. Paris heard the screaming of his mother, a sound that will haunt him forever. The apartment, once a home filled with laughter, was now a crime scene. Detectives began gathering evidence. Jakira had met a brutal end, and the primary person of interest was obvious: her fiancé, Julian Goode-Wallace, who was nowhere to be found. In the immediate aftermath, attention turned to Julian. He was the last person known to see Jakira alive, and now he was missing. Officers noted that Julian's belongings were gone from the apartment. It looked as if he had fled. Within days, detectives obtained a warrant charging Julian with first-degree murder. The search for Julian was urgent. Authorities feared he might be desperate or dangerous to others. Police chased down leads. There were reports that Julian had been spotted in the area in the days after New Year's. Community social media pages shared Julian's photo, warning that he was wanted for questioning. For over a week, Julian remained at large. Each day that he was free felt like an insult to Jakira's memory. Police received dozens of tips. Some said Julian might have fled the state. Others thought he was still hiding in Fayetteville. Tension in the community grew. On January 12, 2025, acting on a tip, Fayetteville police converged on an area near Santa Fe Drive. They spotted a man fitting Julian's description. After a brief foot chase, Julian Goode-Wallace was taken into custody. He was charged with first-degree murder and booked into the Cumberland County Detention Center without bond. Investigators have not publicly revealed the motive, but the charge suggests the killing was premeditated or especially heinous. Some who knew the couple speculated that Jakira may have decided to leave Julian, and that triggered his violence. Such details remain unconfirmed as the legal process moves forward. As he was led in handcuffs into the police station, Julian kept his head down, offering no statement. The man who once proudly proclaimed love for Jakira was now silent, accused of ending her life. Forensic experts continued to piece together what happened in that apartment around New Year's. News of Jakira's death and Julian's arrest sent shockwaves beyond Fayetteville. People struggled to comprehend how a relationship that appeared so loving could end in such violence. The engagement video, once a symbol of hope, now feels haunting. A reminder of how quickly things changed. An outpouring of grief flooded social networks. Candlelight vigils and online tributes honored Jakira's memory. She was remembered as the friend who would drop everything to help. The daughter who called her mum every day. Heartbreak and anger intertwined in the community's response. The case sparked deeper reflection on abuse and perception. Domestic abusers often hide their worst behavior behind a charming mask. The fact that Ja'Kyra stayed silent about any abuse she might have been suffering is all too common. Victims often keep abuse hidden out of fear, shame, or hope that things will improve. People also confronted the uncomfortable truth that social media can present a deceptive picture. Ja'Kyra's Instagram showed happy moments, but they were just snapshots in time, not the full reality. Some wondered if Julian planned the proposal as a way to tighten his hold on Jakira. Local organizations held events in her memory, distributing literature about resources for those in abusive relationships. Hashtags like Justice for Jakira ensured her story would not be forgotten. Her family urged anyone experiencing domestic violence to seek help. As of now, Julian Goode-Wallace awaits trial for the murder of Ja'Kyra Ortiz. The legal proceedings will reveal more about what happened on that fateful New Year's Eve. Jakira's family holds on to her memory, her irrepressible smile, her kindness, her love, even as they grapple with the trauma of her loss. In her hometown, relatives gathered to honor her life, releasing white balloons into the sky. Ja'Kyra Ortiz's story is one of a life full of love and promise, stolen in an act of unspeakable violence. It forces us to confront the reality of domestic violence hiding in plain sight. The emotional whiplash, from seeing her joyous engagement to mourning her death, will linger with all who have followed the case. We remember Jakira for who she was in life, not just how she died. A vibrant young woman full of love, whose story now serves as a powerful reminder that we must take care and take action when something doesn't feel right. Rest in peace, Ja'Kyra Ortiz. Justice for Jakira. I hope this story helps you recognize warning signs and encourage you to seek help or offer support before it's too late. I'll see you in the next episode of Crime of Passion. Thank you for watching.